Please read the disclaimer. XRP just leveled up. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. Happy Saturday. XRP is currently sitting at $1.84, up 0.22% on the day. The crypto market continues to be super duper uneventful, boring, not a lot of price action, but there's a lot of news that is coming out. And we are seeing the crypto market have to battle with the silver, gold, precious metal sector that is getting a lot of love. Like if you have been on X in the past few days, you've seen a lot of posts about silver, what's happening. I even made a video about silver last night. Maybe you saw it. Didn't get, of course, a lot of traction because of the algorithm, right? But we are seeing the crypto market in a very interesting state. We'll talk about what happened historically when previously we saw gold and silver go on a crazy runs, and what happens for the crypto market following that. So that is going to be towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. My youngest son is trying to enter the room on the side, but it's hard to open the door. I'm in the bomb shelter, so it has this like mechanism to lock the door. So I locked the door and he was trying to get in, probably interested. What is Papa doing? We seeing a very interesting situation next week where we have some financial data that is coming out off of Christmas into New Year's. We are getting delayed data for GDP. So we had a very good GDP report that came out this week. We're going to get the Q3 data that was delayed because of the government shutdown. We're also going to get initial jobless claims that is coming on Wednesday. So there are some things looking into next week that could have an effect on the crypto market. So we need to watch out for that. In general, the crypto market is right now maybe in its most lowest point, right, of the year, in the sense of that everything else is so nice and juicy, and the crypto market is, something that nobody wants to really talk about or touch. There's not a lot of interest right now. I saw someone post that they've taken 3-4 months off of the crypto market, or they're taking this whole month off of the crypto market. I've seen some content creators that have taken off these past 2-3 weeks. So this is, and it's not this is by choice, not like we were seeing around October when everyone was getting strikes. Now it's by choice, and so it's very interesting to see where the crypto market is going to go from here. Again, I am still very, very bullish on the crypto market long term. Everything that's happened, but short term, it's a dud. There's not a lot of happening right now. There's not a lot of price action. Other sectors are getting more love, but we know, and this is again from my experience of the past, especially 4 or 5 years of content creating and looking at the markets every single day and looking at how people get interest and when they lose interest and how interest peaks and how interest fades. Right now, I think we might be at one of the lowest points that I have ever seen. But my experience has also told me that that turns around. And actually, I really appreciate a lot of you in the comment section saying that you don't care what the market is doing. You don't care what XRP is doing. You come and you watch me every single day because we've become like friends, family. I'm part of your daily routine. You come from my bad dad jokes, my stories. So I really appreciate that. I know that there's might be flashier a little bit, or the people that do better edits and do all kinds of things like that. So I appreciate that you keep coming back and watching my videos. Justin, Ripple is set to operate as a national trust bank in the US. Not just Ripple, right? We also have Circle, Ripple, Paxos, Bitcoin, and Fidelity are now cleared to operate like banks. The crypto banking freeze is officially ending. So if you have a situation where you wanted to operate with a bank or you wanted to do business through a bank, but the bank was like, no, we're not operating with crypto. The government is going to give us problems, yada, yada, yada. What has happened over the past few years, as crypto has become a little bit more mainstream, the banks have still, of course, there were some um, things that the SEC, that the Fed have removed, but they were stopping banks to interact with crypto. Well, now these companies are banks themselves, or semi banks, and they don't have that problem anymore. Moreover, right, when you have a situation like this, a lot of the services that maybe banks were blocking, these companies will now give to other companies that don't have the bank charters yet, or don't want a bank charter. They just want to operate, let's say between clients, between customers, and allow that integration, going between traditional finance and, you could call it new finance, DeFi. And so that's going to be very interesting to see how that is going to affect Ripple, how that is going to affect XRP long term. Again, these are just my opinions on the market, my opinions on what could potentially happen. Price action, I have no idea in the short term. Long term, again, I think that prices will continue to rise. Right now, for example, silver's market cap is just went over the total market cap of the crypto market. So we're in a situation where we're still small, irrelevant to other things. And so again, long term, I'm very, very optimistic, but things can change. AI can change things. So you need to be very careful in what you're doing. Of course, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. Okay. Um, we are seeing an interesting situation. Some people are looking this as a bad thing. Some people are looking this as a good thing. I try to give you all the perspectives. I try to give you all the types of scenarios. Some people in the past have, gotten angry about this in the comment section, but I really feel that that is the best way as a content creator to bring the data. I am seeing over the past 4 or 5 months, the amount of XRP on exchanges continue to go down. If it's Binance, if it's Coinbase, we're continuing to see right now that their reserves are at 20 to 25 lows. Now, Max here, Avery says, signaling long-term holder positioning and institutional ETF demand. On the flip side, right, this could also be a situation where people are selling off their XRP on exchanges. And as a result, right, there's less XRP held by clients on exchanges because they sold. And so the exchanges need less XRP to back that up, right, to hold on their books. It could also mean that people don't want to sell their XRP, so they're removing the XRP from the exchanges, and that's why we're seeing less um, exchange reserves currently on the exchanges. So we don't really know what's happening. If we're looking at the price action, you could say, well, Avi, it looks like that XRP is being sold, and that's why we're seeing such a low. But if you look at it, right, if you go and you look at 2025 as a whole, we've been here multiple times at this zone. So you could say, well, we were here back in April, and we were here back in June, similar prices, and yet the reserves were a lot higher for XRP on these exchanges. So I don't think it's just a pure, well, people are selling and that's why there's less XRP on the exchanges. I think that also people are more self-custodying today. People are removing assets from the exchanges. And yes, it could also be a factor of the XRP ETFs that were introduced. That could also be a factor as well that we need to take into consideration. A lot of people talk about the potential of a liquidity crisis or something like that happening in 2026. We'll have to see. Right. Again, this is going to be very interesting. I do not think people thought that the price of XRP would be at $1.84 by the end of 25, sorry. But we're here. And so we have to make peace with that. And we have to think about what could potentially happen in 2026. Again, if you said in 2024 where we would be in 2025, and we'd say we'd be at $1.80, I think some people would be happy because we were at 40 cents, 50 cents, right? Even lower, 30 cents. So a lot of people would say, oh, I bought it 30 cents. So, I'm a 7x up right now at 6x, right? Three times six. I'm a 5x, 6x 6x off of that. So they'd be happy, right? But people that have bought in this area or bought at 3, they're down. So I understand the conflict and the pain that a lot of people are feeling right now from price action. But again, I try to take advantage of short-term things. I try to take advantage of long-term things and long-term investing, and it's a totally different mindset. And I understand that right now precious metals are very, very hot, and people are, putting more emphasis on that. And the stock market is very, very hot. Crypto feels like the forgotten sibling a little bit, right? And then maybe a middle child, although I try to love my middle child as much as I can, but it's sometimes they get they're not the big one, they're not the small one, and they have the I understand now why middle child feels a little bit like a middle child. He says sometimes things to me, and I'm like, oh, this is so middle child sayings. I'm an oldest, and I only have one sister, so we never had a middle child in our unit there. But now I feel for my middle child. And crypto is feeling like that right now. It's like it's still loved, but sometimes it gets screwed from both directions. They don't get the same perks as being the oldest, and they don't get the same perks as being the youngest. Right now, it feels like the middle child syndrome. That's how crypto feels a little bit. But we have to remember that last time gold and silver topped in 2020, Bitcoin went on 500% run over the next 16%. I'm sorry, for the next 16 months. This is a possibility. We could potentially see the crypto market run off of this if we see these markets start pulling back and money pulling out of it. Where does it go? Does it go to cash, right? Or does it go to crypto? Now, there's a lot of cash on the sidelines. The M2 is telling us that we're, at highs, and we've seen that huge detach from the M2 to crypto to Bitcoin. Has all that money gone into these precious metals? But eventually they're going to come out, right? There's always going to be a pullback. And then the question is going to be, where is that money going to go? The Fed starts reducing interest rates. The Fed also starts printing money, right? Quantitative easing. Where does that money go? And many people are hoping that it's going to go to crypto. And we'll have to see. Again, that's the trillion-dollar question. I don't have the answer when it's going to start, but I am optimistic for 2026. So we'll see where the markets go. As always, don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.